high fevers, collapsing lungs, brain swelling, and a virus that becomes almost 100% deadly once symptoms start. These aren't ancient threats, they're happening right now. Today in part 2, we're shifting to the infectious threats still circulating right now. Alright, let's dive right in. Number 5, cholera. Death by dehydration. Let's start with a disease that doesn't look dramatic on the outside, but is absolute chaos on the inside. You're in a crowded 19th century city. No plumbing, sketchy water, sewage in the streets. People start getting sick, but not over days, over hours. Massive watery diarrhea, vomiting, muscle cramps, and more. In fact, some people can look fine in the morning and be dead by nightfall. That's cholera's calling card. Cholera is called by a bacterium called Vibrio cholerae, usually picked up through contaminated water or food. The bacteria themselves don't burrow through your intestines or chew holes in your organs. What they do instead is attach to the lining of your small intestine and release a toxin like a biochemical takeover. That toxin tells your intestinal cells to crank open their ion channels, dumping out sodium, chloride, and bicarbonate into your gut. And wherever electrolytes go, water follows. So your body basically turns on a fire hose into your own intestines. That's liters of fluid, clear, pale, full of mucus and electrolytes pouring out of you. Medically, what kills you is hypovolemic shock. Or in other words, you lose so much fluid and salt that your blood volume tanks. Blood pressure crashes, organs don't get enough oxygen, kidneys shut down. Without treatment, people have literally died in under 24 hours from extreme dehydration. Historically, cholera outbreaks ripped through cities in Europe, Asia, and the Americas throughout the 1800s. We're talking millions of deaths. So how do we treat cholera today? The real lifesaver is ridiculously simple. Fluids and electrolytes back in as fast as they left. An oral rehydration solution. Water, sugar, salt in the right ratio turns a disease that could kill half its victims into something most people can survive if they get help in time. Number 4, malaria, the mosquito assassin. Next, let's talk about a killer that doesn't explode, bleed, or rot your skin, but has probably killed more humans than any war in history. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium parasites, spread by female Anopheles mosquitoes. You don't have to drink dirty water or touch a sick person like many other deadly diseases. You just have to be tasty enough for a tiny flying needle to find you. A mosquito injects Plasmodium sporozoites into your bloodstream and they make a beeline for your liver. There, they invade liver cells and multiply quietly for days. You feel fine, zero symptoms. Meanwhile, your liver is turning into a factory for more parasites. From there, the parasites burst out of the liver and invade your red blood cells. This is phase 2, the part you feel. With the classic malaria symptoms, cyclic fevers, chills so bad your teeth chatter, drenching sweats, pounding headaches. This comes from the parasites multiplying inside red blood cells, then rupturing them all at once in waves. But the worst damage happens in severe malaria, especially from Plasmodium falciparum. In this form, infected red blood cells get sticky, clumping onto tiny blood vessels in your brain, lungs, and other organs. That can cause cerebral malaria with seizures, coma, and brain swelling. Prevention is where the real magic happens. Insecticide-treated bed nets, indoor spraying, draining mosquito breeding sites, and now newer malaria vaccines are rolling out. Every mosquito blocked is potentially a life saved. Even when my wife and I went to South Africa earlier this year, we took extra precautions and took anti-malaria meds before and during our trip. Treatment exists for every form of malaria, but the deadliest strain, Plasmodium falciparum, doesn't wait. Without rapid meds, it can overwhelm the body in hours, and resistance in some regions makes that window even smaller. Number 3, HIV/AIDS, the slow sabotage. If malaria is the mosquito assassin, HIV is the long con mastermind. HIV, which stands for human immunodeficiency virus, doesn't kill you quickly. In fact, that's part of what made it so dangerous. It sneaks in, sets up shop, and slowly dismantles the part of your immune system that's supposed to protect you from everything else. It spreads through certain body fluids like blood, semen, vaginal fluids, and breast milk, so it doesn't jump from a handshake or a sneeze. It needs direct access to the bloodstream or mucous membranes. HIV gets inside these CD4 cells, hijacks their machinery, and turns them into virus factories. Early on, someone might get flu-like symptoms, fever, sore throat, swollen lymph nodes. Then the virus enters a quieter stage. A person with untreated AIDS doesn't die of HIV in a straightforward way. Instead, their immune system becomes so weakened that everyday microbes turn into lethal threats. From a medical standpoint, standpoint, it's like your firewall is gone and malware can install itself anywhere. In the early 1980s and 90s, HIV/AIDS was almost always a death sentence. Young people, often otherwise healthy, wasting away in hospitals while doctors scrambled to even understand what was happening. Fast forward to now, this is one of the biggest success stories and ongoing challenges in infectious disease. We don't have a cure yet per se, but we do have antiretroviral therapy. This is a combination of pills that target different parts of the virus's life cycle. When taken consistently, these can drive the viral load down so low it's undetectable in the blood. Number 2, measles, the sneakiest comeback in disease history. Measles gets written off as a childhood rash, but medically speaking, it's one of the most aggressive and contagious viruses humans have ever faced. It spreads through respiratory droplets, hangs in the air for up to 2 hours, and can linger on surfaces long after the sick person leaves. Even vaccinated people can catch measles in rare breakthrough cases, but these cases are dramatically milder because their immune system already has a blueprint. Inside the body, the virus doesn't just cause fever, cough, runny nose, and that classic red rash. It temporarily wipes out immune memory, something called immune amnesia. That means it can erase antibodies you already had from previous infections or vaccines. You can beat pneumonia one year, get measles, and suddenly be vulnerable to it again. And the complications, they range from severe lung infections to encephalitis, brain inflammation that can cause seizures, coma, and lasting neurological damage. From an ER standpoint, measles is a logistics nightmare. If a patient with measles walks into a crowded waiting room, they can infect almost everyone in there before they've even been triaged. That's why people use negative pressure rooms to keep the virus from escaping into the hallways. Before the vaccine existed, measles was a true heavy hitter. From the early 1900s through the 1950s, it infected an estimated 3 to 4 million Americans every single year, sending tens of thousands to the hospital and killing 400 to 500 children annually in the US alone. Globally, measles caused around 2.6 million deaths every year. Then in 1963, the first measles vaccine rolled out and everything changed almost overnight. Number 1, rabies, the almost 100% fatal virus. If malaria is slow and persistent and measles is explosively contagious, rabies is something else entirely. A virus that feels ripped straight out of a horror movie. Rabies is one of the deadliest infections we know of, meaning once symptoms start, the fatality rate is essentially 100%, and that's not an exaggeration. Almost nobody survives symptomatic rabies, even with modern ICU care. Rabies is a virus typically spread through the bite or saliva of an infected animal. Dogs, bats, raccoons, foxes, depending on where you live. The virus doesn't just hang out in the blood, it targets your nerves. After a bite, the rabies virus enters nearby nerve endings and starts crawling up the peripheral nerves toward your spinal cord and brain. This journey can take weeks to months. During that time, you feel completely fine. Once it reaches the central nervous system though, game over. And to make matters worse, early symptoms can be nonspecific. Fever, headache, feeling tired, but then come the neurologic signs. Anxiety, confusion, hallucinations, difficulty swallowing, and one of the classic features is hydrophobia, a fear of water, because trying to swallow triggers painful spasms in the throat muscles. Patients may drool or foam at the mouth not because they are trying to be dramatic, but because they physically can't swallow their own saliva. Medically, what's happening is massive inflammation in the brain and spinal cord, encephalitis and myelitis. Also, your heart rhythm can go unstable, breathing can fail, and eventually the brain can no longer maintain vital functions. Luckily for some, rabies is one of the most preventable deadly diseases we have. Each one deadly and horrendous in its own way. Some strike fast, some wait years, but all exploit the same thing: opportunity. If you want a part 3, hit that like button and let me know below in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this playlist right here, binge watch everything for me, and do me a favor, make sure you subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, and hit that like button for me. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.